Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Wilton Manors, Florida, with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Lynn Cummings.
Show for trans folks by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Well, good evening and welcome to Transgender Tuesday, live from Wilton Manors, Florida. Radio show. So glad all of you are able to join us tonight for another great interview.
Yes. And don't forget about Transgender Thursday. We have the TV show.
That's right. TTs.
The 3 T's.
That's right. Well, Kenna Henderson is a writer whose personal story, Kenna, A Transgender Life, was published in 2012. Since then, she has written a follow-up, I'm Not the Man I Used to Be, along with 3 other books of humor fiction under the author's name, Clay Reston. She also writes and edits books for others. But before we bring her on, we want to thank our sponsor,
thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you could possibly need for your transgender and cross-dressing needs. Visit their website and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
Being acutely aware of her gender self-identity as early as age 6, she found herself with nowhere to turn for information or advice. It was the 1940s, and she somehow quickly learned that her sense of being different had to be kept secret.
After 5 decades of internal struggle, trying to understand and fight the feelings, she gained access to the internet and was able to learn more about what she was dealing with. Consultation with medical professionals convinced her that there was nothing wrong about the way she felt.
But another 10 years would pass before there was total self-acceptance and finally determination to live her life as she knew she needed to. On her own, Kenna decided to work in female mode to seek validation of the person she felt she was.
A journal of that experience, as documented in her long-running blog called Another Self, is included in her first book. Kenna Henderson also has about 130 songs to her credit, including some that directly address the transgender experience.
She sees her role now as being a source of support and inspiration for others who walk the same path. And to that end, she's actively engaged as a co-organizer of a local LGBT group.
Kenna is very happily married and lives in Florida, where she has assisted with the rescue of Great Danes and other animals for the last 20 years. Now please welcome to our show, the lovely Kenna Henderson.
Hi, guys.
Hi,
it's
Kenna.
great to be on the show. I'm really honored.
And it's
great to have you.
Definitely. Been looking forward to having you on the show. And,
you guys are doing great work down there in South Florida. I'm impressed. I've been reading quite a bit about Transition Radio.
Thank you. Love our community and love to showcase all the wonderful individuals in our community. We're very talented, and we're here for a reason. I truly believe that.
Yes.
And I'm also going to be very happy to share one of your MP3s. You sent me several, so it's hard for me to pick one, but I picked one, and The Flame is the one we're going to share tonight during our
Oh, that's nice of you.
Well, can I explain what you meant by you felt transgender since your earliest memory?
Well, Mark, as you said, my journey dates back to the 1940s. We actually, as a family, we moved every 5 years or so, and it's pretty easy for me to pinpoint where we were living and how old I was when I had the feelings for the first time. I was 6 years old in St. Augustine, Florida, and I remember I got in big trouble for playing dress-up with a girl neighbor who was about my age. Now, what's really strange is I had no recollection of how I came to know that it was something I had to keep secret from then on, but I should have learned that lesson because I kept it secret for about 50 years. That was the point at which I started sneaking into my mom's dresser and closet and being afraid she'd find out. So something traumatic must have taught me, you better be careful because you're going to get in trouble.
Exactly. Put everything back exactly as it was. I remember those days.
And it's crazy to think. It's crazy to think that as a society we have to judge people for being themselves, for expressing their true spirits. And I believe that every human being has both a male and female energy source. That's part of the yin and yang. It's part of duality.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Exactly. So, Kenna, why do you think that most transgender individuals feel they can ignore who they are by only encountering a tidal wave of feelings that can lead to self-destruction in the end?
Well, I can only speak for myself, and in my case, I was a victim of my own stubbornness. Remember, back then I had no one to talk to about it, and nothing to read, no internet. As far as I knew, it was something I was doing wrong, and I needed to stop. But, of course, I never could stop. You know how that is. So I went through the classic steps of cross-dressing and purging and thinking I'd beaten it and giving into the feelings again, hating myself the whole time. But being stubborn, I wasn't about to let it win. So I fought that battle for 5 decades. And then when I got online in 1994, I started absorbing all the knowledge I could find. And then, and only then, I started to accept myself and understand what was going on. But it still took me 10 more years to accept exactly who I am. So it's just stubbornness, It's just who I am, I guess.
Exactly. And, I checked into actual SRS when I was 18 years old. And, because my whole life it was always back and forth. So I basically did that. And then I was like, okay, there's not enough information. And, I just kept living my life between both until finally it took me years to finally come out. And then a few years after coming out to actually take that step forward to physical transition.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that there's more to this than just the actual physical transition and the surgeries and everything else. It's a self-expression as spirit beings. Yeah. We have the energies. And I know I repeat myself a lot on this, but it's something that I believe that not only society needs to learn, but there's a lot of transgender individuals who need to learn as well, that it's not from going from one box into another. There's a lot more to this.
Right.
We need to be proud to be transgender.
Exactly.
And not try to fit into another box.
Exactly. Let me ask you, what made you overcome these feelings and succumb to depression and hopelessness?
I can give all the credit to my wife, Mark. And you know what a roller coaster it can be. And she rode that roller coaster with me, and we both learned more about me along the way because, as you and Jessica both know, you reach a cliff where you have to come out for the sake of your own sanity. And we had been married for 5 years. In fact, it was our 5th anniversary. And I told her, I reached a point at which I just could not keep it secret from her because I loved her so much. But, like everybody else, you realize, well, okay, if I'm going to be honest, then I'm probably going to lose her. But I didn't. And that was a real blessing for me. I thought I was just a cross-dresser. She was okay with that. But, 19 years later, here we are. She's been with me every step of the way, so I have to give all the credit to her.
That is awesome. That is definitely beautiful to have someone by your side that's supportive and has been there for you and is still there for you.
It's rare. It is, unfortunately.
It is, because I always say that transition is a huge gamble and a risk with the highest stakes in the world. And,
Absolutely.
You have to be willing to place that all on the table.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and share that song. It's called The Flame, so here it is.
Yeah. Did I tell you what that refers to, Mark?
Very pretty song.
Yes, indeed.
So, Kenna, what was the inspiration for that song?
I am a moderator on one of the large transgender support websites, and I see so many kids teenagers really who just give up, and they're in really difficult situations, and they just don't see their lives getting any better. And the message of that is, just hang on. It's not, your whole life isn't going to be like this. If there's anything I can say is, words of wisdom, it's, listen to older people who have been where you are. You haven't been where we are. It does get a lot better. Just hang on, You're a valid human being. It's not always going to be like high school, So I took that to heart and wrote that song because of that. That I guess is my hot button. I don't like seeing kids give up.
Exactly, and we know too often that kids don't have the threshold. A lot of times, the younger youth don't have the threshold to keep pushing forward. They sometimes, when they get discouraged, they give up. Even adults do the same thing.
Sure, they do.
You already pretty much answered my question a little earlier about having anyone to confide in about your transition and who was your support system. But was there anybody that you could confide in, or anybody that you had to support you through your transition? Besides your wife?
No.
Besides your wife?
Before my wife, no. No, I had to do it all on my own. I had to figure it out on my own. I tried to mention it to a couple of doctors, but by that time I knew more than they did, so I got no help there. They didn't know anything.
I hear you. We educate the doctors, pretty much. They don't show us.
We are their greatest teacher.
We all kind of walk the same path, don't we? Just at different times.
Well, see, that's what I always say. We all are on the same journey, but we all are on different paths that will eventually lead to the same road.
Exactly.
Yeah, some of us get off a little earlier than others too. Like for example, I'm not a candidate for SRS, for example. I'm just not. I mean, I'm 72 years old. It's not something I need to do, but I fully understand why people do need to do it.
Right.
And that, in the big picture, that doesn't make anyone more of a man or a woman. It's the feelings inside, meaning self-expression you are.
Exactly. I've had to answer that question before. Why don't you want to become a woman? Because I can't become a woman. It's different. I am who I am. I'm a transgender person, and I'm happy with that. I'm proud with that. People are just going to have to learn there's something other than just the male or female. There's people like us, and we can hold our heads high as well.
And there's many different types of gender, not just the two that our society.
Exactly.
Other cultures actually end up, realizing that there's more than just two, and hopefully that. So, what was the hardest hurdle, and what words of wisdom do you have for our trans brothers and sisters?
Well, it goes back to what we were just talking about the song. Hang in there. It does get better. As far as my hurdle is concerned, it was 5 decades of hurdle. There was no one thing. I just had to keep it all inside. And when it came time to let it out, it just all came out at one time. So, just when you're young, just hang in there until you get control of your own decisions. The information's out there. People are willing and able to help you. Don't be like me. Don't live your life for the sake of other people. Don't find yourself looking back and seeing all you could have done and been if you had just been true to yourself. I think the one thing that worked against me, Mark, is that I'm a stoic. I always deny myself things if I think it's, for the better or for other people, and that's no way to go through your life. I mean, you can do that, but you have to be sure you're not denying your true self just because of what others might say or do. You have a right to be who you are. That's my advice. You have a right to be who you are. Be the best you can be. Don't let anybody stand in your way. I had to learn that lesson the hard way. Don't be like me. Don't wait.
Exactly. And peer pressure that society tries to push upon everyone, that we all have to be the same. And if you look at nature, no two trees are the same. It's being different is beautiful, and that's what people need to embrace and be proud of who they are.
Well, it's happening. People are being more sure of themselves and coming out, and they're finding that the world outside is not as cold as they thought it might have been. People are very accepting now. It's really, with most people, it's just a matter of, okay, explain to me what's happening, and then I'll accept it, and it's not a problem. You don't have to worry about it as much as you used to have to worry about it. I mean, once you get out there, you realize, hey, this isn't bad. Now I get to be who I am. I think I've taken 10 years off of my life just by doing that. I feel so much younger.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So tell us about your book, Kenna, A Transgender Life, and where can our listeners purchase your book?
Well, let's make them readers too, Mark. Well, back in 2007, I did a crazy thing back in 2007, as you mentioned in the bio at the front of the show. I still don't know where I got the nerve, but I pushed myself out the door to test the waters as a female person that I felt I was, and signed up to do volunteer work, and I started doing a daily blog about that, and I thought that's what all it would be, but it turned out to be much more than that. I got quite a following, and I didn't think it would generate a book, but once I got to thinking about it, I said, maybe I do have a message here. So what I did was I combined that book with my own personal experiences, some of which were kind of painful to remember, but I felt as though I just needed to get it all out into a book, and that's what made the book, and it's actually doing real well. I'm kind of surprised. It's such a kind of a narrow market, so to speak, but I just wanted something out there to be a resource for other people. I mean, there's a lot of books out there, but I just wanted to maybe make my life mean something to somebody else, so maybe they wouldn't make the same mistakes I have. And then nothing spectacular. It's just my story, but it gets good reviews and it sells steadily. And the most rewarding part of it has been the correspondence that I've gotten from people who've read it and told me how it's affected their lives. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, Mark. But you can find it online anywhere that ebooks can be downloaded. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, Sony, Diesel, Kobo, just to name a few of them. Or you can go to smashwords.com and search by my name, Kenna Henderson, Kenna. I just published a sequel to it also. It's called I'm Not the Man I Used to Be.
That's great. You're leaving your seed behind. You're leaving your legacy and helping people by sharing your story.
Yeah.
I
hope so.
That's a responsibility that we transgender individuals have, although many don't see it that way. But I believe we're here for a reason, and we need to be visible.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to do some individual mentoring as well. I mentioned in the biography about the LGBT group I'm involved in. I was the only and first transgender member. And what I'm doing is screening everybody who comes in. I want to establish a personal relationship with them and mentor them as I can based on what I know, what I've been through, and it's working out really well. It's just not like a come one, come all thing. It's like, okay, what are your particular needs? You know, where are you on the journey, and how can I help you? So I find that very rewarding, too.
Excellent. That's awesome. Well, we want to thank you so much for being on the show. We have a few announcements to make, and appreciate the time. And you have a page on our website where your listeners could go in, click at pictures, and click direct. I think I've linked it to your Facebook. I don't know, unless you provided me with a website, then it's linked directly to your website. So,
okay. Well, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's been a pleasure for us as well. Thank you so much, Kenna.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You have a great evening. Good night.
Well, tomorrow is a very special day. It's Transgender Day of Remembrance. Please attend any of your local TDOR events and remember those that are no longer with us and are not here for being themselves. We will attend the events at the Pride Center here at Wilton Manors. In the trans news this evening, we're going to talk about the waitress that was denied a tip because of a gay lifestyle, and she got a flooding of support. New Jersey waitress Dana Morales was expecting a tip after serving a party of 4 on Wednesday, but instead she found a hurtful handwriting note. I'm sorry, but I cannot tip because I do not agree with your lifestyle and the way you live your life, the note read. Deeply offended, Morales, who is a lesbian, posted the receipt on Facebook and then sent it to LGBT group Have a Gay Day's Facebook page, where it racked up over 3,000 comments and quickly made it all around the web.
And that was handwritten note, not a handwriting note.
Okay, handwritten note.
I am a server at Gallup Asian Bistro in Bridgewater, New Jersey, and this is what happened to me today. She wrote, alongside the photo, never in a million years did I think this would happen. I am thoroughly offended, mad, pissed off, and hurt that this is what her kids will grow up learning, and that I served in the Marines to keep ignorant people like them free. Her post triggered an outpouring of support from people across the globe and over $1,000 in donations to a PayPal account that she set up at the urging of other Facebook users. I'm still rather overwhelmed, she told Today.com on Friday. I'm beyond thankful for it. I'm speechless.
A former member of the U.S. Marine Corps, Morales, planned on donating some of the money she received to the Wounded Warrior Project, which provides aid to wounded servicemen and women as they transition from military to civilian life. She would also like to give back to the LGBT Foundation, but hasn't chosen one just yet. While the donation and messages of goodwill has arrived from countries as far away as South Africa and Germany, Morales, 22, has also found support closer to home.
The restaurant where she worked compensated her for the lost tip money right away and has vowed to match the amount she donates to charity. Morales says she has intermittently worked as a server for about a decade, and that in all her years waiting tables, she's never faced discrimination on account of her sexuality.
And while she initially posted a photo of the receipt on Facebook just to vent her feelings to friends and her family, she now hopes that her experience will remind people that gay discrimination still exists and shouldn't be tolerated.
It's an issue that needs to be figured out, she said. It's not okay to label people and treat them with disrespect, and this is still happening today.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's 2013. I'm not going to tip you because you have a different way of living life.
Yes, and I hope these people that did this to her, I hope her kids grow up to be gay or transgender.
Yes, and
voila.
Yeah, it's like
Justice
it's crazy.
for her.
You know, it's a world made up of different people. We all have to realize that. And we can't all be the same. And being different is a beautiful thing. So,
Absolutely.
Get over yourselves, people. Well, this Thursday we were supposed to have Lucas, but just had some personal issues, and we will have him back on the show. We'll have him on the show December 19th, and this Thursday we're going to have Yui all the way from England. She's a transgender female, and looking forward to that interview. So stay tuned for that, and let's see what else. What other? Well, please make sure to attend your transgender event tomorrow. I know that we're looking forward to that. There's a lot of people that have lost their lives needlessly.
And we want to thank Kenna for being on the show.
Definitely.
Thank all our listeners
Definitely.
for coming out and listening.
Definitely.
And we love you, right?
Not yet. You're trying out this a quick thing here. It's just like talking, and I'm trying to.
Well, I thought that was the end of the show. Excuse me.
No, not yet.
So sorry.
Just trying. It's hard. I'm trying to deal with computers and this and that. And so.
Well, I'm just sitting here.
And I'm wondering what happened here. So you said something.
I told you. I don't
chat. Well,
think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much. Stay tuned for Thursday with Yui, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and attend your TDOR events tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Good night. We love you. Oh. We love you. Yeah. Remember to always love yourselves, too. Good night.